Hi there, my name is Rob Heffernan and I'm on the commercial team at Huq. I wanted to introduce our location intelligence platform Lighthouse and demonstrate really quickly how Huq can give you instant commercial insights across physical places. The story is understanding insights is difficult. Data becomes quickly outdated, it's not easily accessible, and it's really hard to compare apples to apples. This can be a huge challenge, especially when large investments are at risk. I'm going to focus on the expansion and site benchmarking use cases for today. So let's compare two London giants, Westfield Stratford and Westfield White City, over the last 6 months to really understand how their commercial profiles and behaviours differ. This is really important to ensure that your investments match your customer profiles and preferences. So, showcasing a bit about our platform here, we can see that it's very much a live search and discover platform. You can easily search for a place, or what we can also do is use one of our pre-built filters. So let's scroll into London. And on the left-hand side, if I toggle on shopping centres, I can then select Westfield Stratford. Click Analyze Now. And once this is loaded, we can then select Westfield White City. In the meantime, as you can see, I'm looking at the last 6 months of data, but we can open this up and look at the last month, quarter, 6 months, year, and we also have the ability to select a custom date range. Now going back here, as you can see, Westfield Stratford has been loaded up. Now if we toggle over to White City and perform the same analysis, click Analyze Now, we'll then be able to bring both locations into one single view. Now the question arises for what type of business you are. Are you a luxury high-end retailer looking for a certain type of demographics? Or are you a QSR, quick service restaurant, looking for more volume of people? So this is where the data can really help tell that story. So I now have both locations loaded. As you can see, I now can click View Details. And given we're looking over the last 6 months, we can run through some of this insight further. So, high level insight over the last 6 months. Westfield Stratford has higher amounts of footfall volume. However, it's down 5% against the 6 months prior. Westfield White City, which is the green line, has less footfall volume, but it's actually grown 0.6%. We can quickly see total footfall volumes, average daily visits, and then we can also look at certain trends, such as day of week analysis, Monday to Sunday. We could look at weekly, and we can look at monthly trends. So what this is telling me is if you want high footfall and mass market reach, Stratford wins off the bat, pulling in nearly 15 million visits over the last 6 months. However, this only tells one side of the story. So we can actually go through a series of other different metrics, such as dwell, such as spend, demographics, to see which location aligns better. But let's just say you are a luxury high-end retailer known internationally, you are internationally recognized, you operate in multiple markets. This is where our international visitation can really help. As you can see, Westfield in green is the White City, and it has more international visitors visiting the shopping centre. So this would mean that you would naturally get more reach and eyeballs on your location in White City over Westfield Stratford. We can also see in terms of spend. Now, what's really interesting here is that Stratford has more footfall volume, but when we're looking at spend, Stratford also has higher amounts of spend. Those additional people are converting into more people in terms of transactions. However, what's also quite interesting is, although that Stratford has more spend as a result, given that it has more people which are converting, there is a higher average transaction amount in Westfield White City. So if you were more of the higher end retailer where your average order value or basket size is quite high, you can see that the average transaction here is weighted more towards White City than Stratford. And that's also from less average transactions per day. But with our spend insights with Experian, we can also dive into certain categories. So imagine you are in fashion. We can quickly select here. And now this is telling me that when we are not just looking at total spend, but we are looking at fashion related spend, Westfield White City has more overall total spend than Stratford. Let's take this a step further and also look at profiling. So when we're looking at the two locations, we can also provide age, gender, and disposable income purchasing power. You can see here that visitors going to Westfield White City have higher purchasing power than Westfield Stratford, which is really interesting when you're trying to think of mass market or higher end luxury. We can also see when we're looking at gender breakdowns that, when we're looking at disposable income, we can see that Westfield White City, which is in green here, has definitely more of a longer tail on the higher end of disposable income levels as opposed to Stratford. So a couple of really interesting insights. That footfall as a leading indicator just tells you one simple story. But if you want to drive basket size, White City takes it, driving a 16% higher average transaction, and also has higher international visitors. Just to summarize, what's really interesting is both locations are in the same city. However, they have completely different strategies and anatomies. So this is where Huq's intelligence can help to de-risk your real estate decision in minutes, saving you hours, and ultimately giving you that economic confidence to make those investments.